Greetings, everyone. W.C. Ballard here. I'm your nonprofit CEO, and we're talking about grant writing for nonprofits step by step. And today we're talking about the 501c3 organization. Can you define it? And the 10 reasons why you should have one if you're going to be applying for a grant. So let's get started. So for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, I do in-person nonprofit and grant writing classes here in Las Vegas, and my students have asked me to put some of my information online where they can share it, and they appreciate it, and I appreciate doing this for them. And if you find value in what I'm about to discuss, I would also appreciate that you click a like or subscribe so that I can share more of this great information with others. So let's talk about what is a nonprofit organization. Well, it's a tax-exempt entity recognized by the Internal Revenue Service under Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code. These organizations are typically formed for charitable, religious, education, scientific, or literary purposes. These organizations must, by law, operate exclusively for the categories that I just talked about. They must fall into one of these categories. They don't have another choice. Charitable, religious, educational, scientific, or other specified purpose, and you have to refer back to the IRS code to make sure that you qualify under one of these categories. They cannot distribute profits to private individuals or shareholders. That's why they're called nonprofits. They are highly preferred by funders of grants and have more benefits than other entities. And there are 10 key reasons why that I'm going to go over with you. And as you can see on the screen, I posted the actual 501c3 tax exempt letter that I received back in 2014 for the nonprofit that I started called B&A Entertainment Services. So why do funders prefer 501c3 nonprofit organizations? Number one, credibility and trust. The 501c3 designation demonstrates that an organization meets certain legal and regulatory requirements. This lends credibility to the organization and ensures the funders that it is a legitimate nonprofit entity. Number two, tax-exempt status. They are recognized as tax-exempt by the IRS. This means donations made to these organizations are tax-deductible for the donors, which is an incentive for more individuals and businesses to contribute financially. Number three, transparency. They must adhere to strict reporting and disclosure requirements, including submitting the annual IRS Form 990, which is publicly accessible. This promotes transparency, and funders can easily review an organization's financial health and activities. Number four, mission-driven focus. They are typically mission-driven. They're focused on the social good rather than profit generation. Funders tend to support organizations whose mission align with their own and their values and goals, particularly those that focus on social impact. So this gives them a heads up over any other type of organization like an LLC or for-profit businesses. Number five, legal protections. They are legally required to operate exclusively for charitable, religious, etc., etc. So this limits the risk of mismanagement or misuse of funds. That makes them a safer bet for funders. Number six, broad public support. They're mainly reliant on public support and donations. This can show funders that they have a broad public support and strong community-driven base. This draws public interest and engagements in its work. So that contributes to sustainability, meaning that charities like this will usually have a better chance of being sustained over a period of years versus a business that's not a nonprofit. Number 7, access to government funding. Federal, state, and local governments provide grants and funding opportunities exclusively to 501c3 nonprofits. This allows these organizations to access funding that may be unavailable to other types of entities. This is really an important one. This number 7 really is important for people who do not have a 501c3. Number 8, organizational stability. The process to obtain 501c3 status can be thorough and time-consuming, requiring proper governance, bylaws, articles of incorporation, financial accountability, but this vetting process is an assurance to funders that the organization is well structured and has a solid foundation. So they're subjected to more scrutiny than other organizations. That is a plus for funders. Number 9, passion and cause-based. Everyone has a passion or a cause. Most of us have been affected by factors like life-threatening diseases like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, domestic violence, homelessness, animal cruelty, and the list just goes on and on. Well, your 501c3 organizations are driven by a charitable cause, whether it's religious or scientific base, where they're going to do research on trying to find the cure. And this draws more funders because most of your funders also have similar objectives. Number 10, corporate sponsorship, corporate support. Besides foundation and government grants, individuals and corporations are more likely to donate to a 501c3 organization due to the tax benefits associated with their contribution and also because of the cause. So funders often see this broad fundraising ability as a positive factor that ensures financial sustainability and stability. Now, if you agree or disagree with some of what I've shared, I'd love to hear your comments below. Please comment or whether you've enjoyed the presentation. Also, I'd like to add that I do have training sessions where I go into greater detail about this. As a matter of fact, in my first training called What is Being Grant Ready, I talk about what it takes to become a 501c3 nonprofit. And I also have a class that goes into great detail that talks about completing the forms and all types of things that I'm going to share more with you in more of my presentations. So, in my final thoughts, I just want to say that some of us just want to put the cart before the horse. They want to rush in and get that grant, get that money, so they can start with that great idea and cause that they have, and they haven't prepared themselves. They don't know how to write the grant. They don't understand the basics of writing the grant, so they need to prepare themselves first. I have a video on being grant ready, and I can tell you right now, my students that you can see here on your left side, they have enjoyed many of the presentations that I've made. They've gone step by step learning how to write the grant. They came to my class not knowing anything about how to write a grant. Now they are grant writers. One of them has already submitted some grants, and we're anxious to see what happened there. But in my classes and in my online classes, I do examples, worksheets, checklists, do's and don'ts, smart tips, some of the things that I'm sharing with you here on this video and other videos. I actually have a video that's called How to Become a Grant Writer. So if you really want to learn how to become a grant writer, first you have to find out about being a 501c3 or working for a 501c3 as a grant writer. If you've enjoyed this, click subscribe, click like, so that you can get started on earning that money as a grant writer. And this is W.C. Ballard checking out.